Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the top 5 most common symptoms that exist to show that you may have been affected by narcissistic abuse. And I want to talk a little bit about why this really matters. And I want to start by sharing that narcissistic abuse does not just occur in romantic relationships, but can also exist within authority figures in the workplace, can exist within dynamics within a family, of course, within siblings, parents, and also within systems and entities that exist within our social structure. And so it's important for us to recognize we can be experiencing this from many, many different facets without being consciously aware of it. And this is part of why I really wanted to spend some time here now raising some awareness in general. And if this is something that resonates with you and you think you may have experienced in the past, it's really important to do the work around this. Of course, it's important to get out of any relationship dynamic if this is currently present in your life in any form. And we've got a lot of really powerful supports, tools and courses. One that I really highly recommend that you can check out for free for 7 days is our emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course. And of course, it's always valuable to seek one-to-one support if and when possible, if you're experiencing any of these major symptoms or perhaps a combination of them. So our very first symptom here is feeling like you are always walking on eggshells. And this can exist in all sorts of different forms. In the workplace, for example, feeling like you're always sort of walking on eggshells. This can exist within your daily life in some form if it's related to an entity or social system. And this can, of course, exist within a family dynamic and romantic relationship, especially. And it's really important to notice this dynamic and ask yourself, like, what is going on here? Why do I feel afraid to take up space? Why do I feel afraid of always making some kind of mistake? Why do I feel this need to always walk on eggshells in my life? And to really try to understand where that's coming from and what some of those root causes are, so that you can then work to reprogram them, of course. And by the way, that course, the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course, that helps you reprogram the imprints left by any form of trauma. And you can check it out again for free. The link is in the description box below. I don't think I said that before. Number 2 are feelings of isolation and feelings of loneliness. One thing we know that's very common is that whenever there's a narcissist in a dynamic, what tends to happen is they really work hard to isolate you. And this is consciously or subconsciously, and it's sort of a form of manipulation, but it's, the more isolated we are in general, the less we really have the ability to see how we're being affected by something that's taking place. Because let's say, for example, you have an amazing support system of friends and colleagues and people in your life, and then there is some form of narcissistic abuse that's taking place, let's say in a romantic relationship, for example. Well, having a lot of people around is going to help you question some of the things that are taking place and really look into them and get other perspectives and pieces of feedback and be able to sort of bounce ideas around and really decide by being around other people and their perspectives about things, what's healthy or unhealthy. But when we are in a narcissistic relationship, often that person gets you to sort of keep space and distance between your friends, your family, other support systems and networks in your life. And it's a means of keeping you in that relationship dynamic. It's there for a purpose. And I do want to say, I'm not here to shame a type of person. I really believe that the narcissist themselves is just somebody who's experienced some form of severe trauma in childhood. And these are usually subconscious coping mechanisms they use to avoid their own abandonment. But it doesn't mean that this person is ever necessarily going to be a really healthy person in a relationship to be with, unless, of course, they're doing tons and tons of in-depth work and self-reflection and therapy and working through their own traumas. And so it's really important to set boundaries in the relationship with this person and to exit these dynamics if we see them in any form in our lives. So you'll see those feelings of isolation and loneliness are often because over time, there's this separation or disconnection that takes place between you and other people in your life as a means of preventing you from really questioning or having other people to lean on, which forces you to keep going to that individual or system for safety, protection, these sorts of things that we feel like we're getting that by this individual. And let's say in a romantic relationship, as an example. Number 3, loss of self-worth. There tends to be a lot more insecurity in a person in this dynamic. And this is because there's like this repetition of passive aggressive comments, or potentially just more aggressive comments than just passive aggressive comments. Gaslighting, feeling like you have to question your own thoughts, feelings, decisions all the time, really trying to disconnect you from that gut instinct that we have. And so over time, all these things add up, and they tend to affect our own feelings of worthiness, of course. Number 4, feeling frozen in your life. And this is a symptom related to, trauma in general, but is very common when it comes to, emotionally abusive relationships, especially, but feeling like there's just this really strong difficulty making decisions, not knowing which direction to go in next. And usually it's because a lot of these types of dynamics create heightened uncertainty in our lives, right? It's like let's just imagine that there's 2 people in an abusive relationship, and there's the narcissist abusing that one person. Then often what you're seeing a lot of the time is this individual feels like they don't know, is it going to be a good day with this person, a bad day? Are things going to go in a positive direction, a negative direction? And there's a lot of confusion because there's so much intermittency of like the good, the bad, the really hard days, the really good days, the promising news, the not so promising news from the person that day. Like there's all of these different dynamics at play. And so it's really important to recognize that that's of course going to lead to heightened feelings of uncertainty, and of course make you feel frozen in your life and when it comes to making decisions as a whole. And number 5, we have a struggle to trust. And it's usually because you see a lot within narcissistic or emotionally abusive relationships that things are always changing. Goalposts are always moving. Like, let's say one day the person is giving you love and saying to you, oh, I will always be here for you if you X, Y, Z. And then, you do that thing that the person requests from you. And, a couple of weeks later, you're still getting the passive aggressive comments, and the narcissist may say something like, oh, well, if only you were more attractive, if only you were more, whatever it might be. And there's always these like stipulations. And so over time, what that does is it creates this person, it gives them an inability to trust themselves as well as other people. And it really comes with a lot of like concern and confusion, which obviously impacts trust as a whole. And you can imagine this too in different environments, right? You can imagine in the workplace, for example, if you're always promised a promotion or a raise, and it's like, oh, if you just complete these reports, if you just work late for this month, and then that's always, oh, you know what, if you just do this, and it's like the goalposts always move, and that tends to be a dynamic as well. So it's really important to just check in with ourselves. Do we have any of these symptoms or these things that we've experienced at any point in time? And if so, what does that look like for us? Like in which area of our lives? And to be able to give ourselves the support and the resources to be able to move through these things, to acknowledge our feelings and our situation, and then to be able to do the work to help heal any painful imprints that were left from these experiences themselves. So check in again, if you want to do a deeper dive. We've got the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course for free. We've got the Post-Traumatic Growth course you can check out in a lot of detail. There's lots of resources and community in the school. And we will have a huge full-length webinar coming out it's about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes long, coming out probably by the time you see this video, all about overcoming narcissistic abuse as a whole. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.